This is Dan, and this is Invincible Ironman number 10 from way back in October of 2017. And this series is called Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite Cringe. And it's going over and looking back at a time when my favorite comic book company, Marvel, and my favorite video game company, Capcom, both fucked up at the same time. So, to go over the history, there was a video game, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. It was a fighting game. For those of you who aren't into video games, essentially back in the 90s, Capcom had licensed out, or Marvel had licensed out, I should say, their characters to make video game, or for Capcom to make video games out of. A lot of them ended up being absolute, hits at the arcade. Yeah, those are gone too. Why? And one of the most popular series is Marvel vs. Capcom, kind of a wild, crazy-ass crossover fighting game. I put a lot of quarters into Marvel vs. Capcom machines, especially Marvel vs. Capcom 2 in particular. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was kind of their latest game that came out in 2017. It was effectively a failure. I think it didn't meet their sales mark, and in general, most people who were fans of those video games were not a big fan of this game. It was a great example. I'll kind of summarize it really quickly. Marvel was very much, and Disney interfered heavily in the production of the video game. A great deal of Marvel characters didn't show up. Capcom, to add to the problem, really put in, I would say, like a C-list effort as far as how much they invested into the game. The gameplay was solid, if that's all you're worried about. The video game story is absolutely cringy. If you wanted to just watch something that would make your ugh, just like bad, just go and watch YouTube videos of the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite story mode. It's really bad. And at the same time, in order to hype up the video game release, Marvel Comics and Capcom teamed up to make these Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite variant covers. Because of course that's pretty much modern comics in a nutshell, is variant covers, because who the fuck actually wants to buy the story in this thing? And we'll go over that real shortly. And I wanted to do a series on each of these comic books because they're all, spoiler alert, they're all mostly terrible. This is 2017 Marvel, so yeah, it's bad. It's pretty bad. And to make things worse, most of the cover art is really bad too. Which is kind of like, wow, what was the purpose of this anyway? Anyhow, if you're wondering what this is Iron Man. This is Tony Stark Iron Man, and this is Spencer, who is a character from a video game called Bionic Commando. You don't really need to worry too much about it. It used to be a very old school video game. Then they made a reboot. It failed miserably, and he just is kind of like this little insert character in the fighting game series. And he's a little cheap bitch too in most of those games. But anyway, like typical of most modern cover and art, nothing that is going on right here is actually what occurs in the book, because Tony Stark Iron Man doesn't exist in this book. It's, you guessed it, Riri Williams. This is Brian Michael Bendis. We have an introduction right here. In this case, rather than something that is fluid with the writing, or something, like one of those manga-style introductions, instead we get this blithering dialogue diatribe from Riri Williams, probably the most unlikable character to have ever graced a Marvel comic book. And essentially, here, I want to show this right here. So check this out, right? S.H.I.E.L.D. arrives in Latveria, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 8 pages of essentially just dialogue between characters. Nothing happening. When something finally happens, it's a flashback to the previous issue. That's right, we spent 1, 2, 3, 4 pages on a flashback from the previous issue. So what you really got was 20 pages of entertainment at best. You got more talking. Yeah, no spoiler alert right here, right? She beats all the bad guys in one shot. Very boring. I have a question. Why is Sharon Carter drawn like an old witch? Like, there's a lot of panels where Sharon Carter is just drawn like she's some freaking hag or something, like some, Elder Scrolls bad character design. It's pretty awful. Yeah, oh man, dude, I forgot how annoying she is. By the way, someone wanted to point out about panel design and dislike of modern panel design, and this right here, this page is a perfect example. So check this out. You get one panel, Riri's looking here, looking there. She says one dialogue float, and then you get a typical Brian Michael Bendis, small dialogue bubbles, talking. So let me summarize this for you. This is a modern comic. Essentially, what's going on is you could have summarized this in one panel, this in one panel, this in one panel. Ideally, that's just technical layout, executing the layout per the writer's instruction, and a writer not dictating stupid fucking layouts. But in this case, honestly, plot-wise, all of this, so this entire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages should be 1 page or 2 pages, and you should just get to the action. Which, to be fair, in this plot, there is no action, so, maybe, it's just, Brian, yeah, I forgot how much I dislike Brian Michael Bendis, or his writing style, and, if there's anything that needs to happen to modern comics, I think all modern writers should not be allowed to do full script, until they can prove that they can make, exciting panel design. Like right here, or I should say layout design, right? If you can't do good layouts, then what's the point of doing full script? You're literally wasting the art right here. Which, by the way, the art by, and it's the same cover artist too, is Marti Garcia and Israel Silva. It's not bad, Stefano Caselli. It's not bad. It's just, there's some questionable facial expressions right here. And at least, what was it? This 2-page spread has decent perspective, though I question why you even need a 2-page spread in this case. It's just people talking, just people looking around. Do I really care about this? Could this not be shown in the background of other panels? How it's shown right here, right? Okay, so the plot is basically Riri takes over Latveria, defeats everybody in one punch, brings social justice to all of Latveria and schools. Every white guy in this issue gets cucked. Tony Stark's a cuck, and just in general, nothing really happens. There's no real conflict. There's no real growth of character, and it's just a modern Marvel comic. Just there's one line in here that's super freaking cringy. Just annoyed the hell out of me just reading through it. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, it's right here. It's just, Sharon Carter's telling her, you can't take over a country, you gotta go. She goes, I can't. And Tony Stark, like a cuck, is like, she can't. Yeah, I freaking hate Tony Stark in this series. That's all I really remember, was how annoying freaking AI Tony Stark was. Because all he does is basically validate Riri Williams every single issue, or if not every single panel. Really annoying. Really, really annoying. And then it goes through the whole thing, and she's like, no, I can't. These people need help now. And Tony Stark is like, I totally support this. Just unbelievable. Also like how anytime anybody kind of talks up to either of these two characters, they tell everyone else to shut up. Just dude, just freaking end me now. Reading this stuff was so annoying. Oh man. Yeah, and you know what's hilarious? Check this out, $3.99. So you paid $4 for a basically false advertising right here, and essentially what would amount to 24 pages of mostly talking and not really any kind of plot going on. And there's 4 pages of a fucking flashback. Give me a goddamn break. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. If I was so let's say you were tricked into buying this, you're a kid that ran in and you liked video games and you liked Capcom, or you saw Marvel or something and you bought this, you would be so thoroughly confused. Because it says Invincible Ironman. You know of Iron Man from either, whether it's the video game or really the movies is most likely what you know them from, right? And then you open up and it's not Iron Man. Not only that, it's not really a lot of action, let's put it in kid terms, right? Does Iron Man use a tank buster and blow up a tank? Nope. You see any cool gizmos and stuff? Nope. The one point of action is a flashback to a previous issue, and she defeats them with this ground punch, that knocks everybody out in one shot. That's, you know, very dramatic and climactic. And then she apparently has fucking Magneto abilities. Okay, cool. I love that. This would have been a lot cooler if, like, they actually got to shoot at stuff and she had to, like, deal and fight with this. This makes Denny O'Neil's Iron Man issue that I did for the Secret Wars or Path to Secret Wars feel like a absolute masterpiece. Like, holy cow. This is going to be a hard series to finish, man. This is going to be a hard series to finish. Anyhow, Brian Michael Bendis, yeah, f*** you. See you guys later.